I am an American soldier.
I'm a warrior and a member of a team.
I serve the people of the United States and live the Army values.
I will always place this first.
I will never accept defeat.
I will never accept defeat.
I will never quit.
I will never leave a fallen comrade.
I am disciplined.
I am disciplined. Physically and mentally tough.
Trained and proficient in my warrior tasks and drills.
I always maintain my arms, my equipment, and myself.
I am an expert and I am a professional.
I stand ready to deploy, engage, and destroy the
enemies of the United States of America in close combat.
I am a guardian of freedom and the American way of life.
I am an American soldier.
I am an American soldier.
I am an American soldier.
There's strong, and there's Army Strong. See what it takes at GoArmy.com.
Sometimes riders feel lost, unsure why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing into full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, offering manuscript critiques and line edits through a mentoring editorial style. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services, visit blackwolfeditorial.com.
Hey folks, I want to introduce you to a friend of mine, Dr. Richard Harden. We are on the same mission, which is waking up America. We just have different paths. So stay tuned for some information on how you can keep up with Richard and all his work.
Visit Richard's website at rahardin.com. That's the World Wide Web at rahardin.com. At his website, you can see a summary of the 6 books he has written, where purchases may be made. He also has a link to 18 videos on YouTube and several blogs about Christian beliefs. If you prefer, visit Amazon.com/Kindle and type in Richard Harden to see and purchase his books.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps stand ready to defend the American way of life. The few, the proud, the Marines.
The following message contains a special offer for listeners of this station. Are you a man over 40? Are you constantly looking for the nearest bathroom? Do you wake up multiple times a night to use the bathroom? Right now, Perfect Prostate is sending out free bottles of their groundbreaking new formula to listeners of this station. Perfect Prostate Formula was developed by medical doctor Mitchell Fleischer, and its ingredients have been clinically studied to reduce your frequent nighttime bathroom visits and promote healthy urine flow. Right now, preferred customers get their first bottle of Perfect Prostate absolutely free. There's nothing to lose. Perfect Prostate is guaranteed to reduce that constant urge to use the bathroom, especially at night, and promote healthy urine flow. Don't wait. Call now for your free bottle. Just pay shipping and processing. Dial 1-800-675-0251. That's 1-800-675-0251. Supplies are limited. One free bottle per household. Call now. Dial 1-800-675-0251. That's 1-800-675-0251.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
My name is Jessie. I'm a United States Special Forces widow. This gives me a unique perspective on the world around us. If you're willing to listen, I'll tell you how I see it, and I won't pull any punches. This is my POV, which stands for Point of View.
All right, this is Jessie. How y'all doing out there today? Might help if I hit the right buttons in the right order, huh? What a weekend. No, seriously, what a weekend. We've had one leader formally kicked out of office. That would be Park Geun-hye, former president of South Korea. We've had advances in the fight for West Mosul. It's come out that we've had that over in South Korea, and now we're sending drones. It's been one of those which way do I run first weekends, and I am not kidding. Wish I was? No, seriously, I wish I was. But I can guarantee you I am not. It's been one of those weeks to beat the band, and I gotta love this one. Of course, the Defense Department wasn't the one to confirm we were stationing drones in South Korea. The State Department did it. Huh? The State Department? Yeah, you heard me. Gotta love it, folks. Gotta love it. It's just kinda nutty. What can I say? So we've had one leader ousted from power. Another one is threatening all-out nuclear war. Really, people? Has the whole world just gone off its rocker? Alright, I do have a couple of announcements. If you are a regular listener to my show, you'll already know this one, but I do want to repeat it again, because I felt like it was part of the show and part of everything I did on air. Scott Harvath, aka Sergeant Terry O'Hara, lost his battle with esophageal cancer this past Friday. And I'm not going to repeat everything I said except to say, go take a listen to that show. It was 50-some minutes commercial free, except for the commercials that play in my intro, of me letting you hear Terry in his own voice, and explaining some of the wonderful things that man did. So, like I said, I thought it was pretty interesting. I had a great time putting it together, all while brushing away a tear, I must admit. But I felt I had no choice but to do it, folks. I didn't intend to go commercial free. I just got so wrapped up in the show, I lost all track of time. Now, that's not the first time that's happened, but it does from time to time happen. What can I say? And usually it's when a topic is so fascinating, I just can't break myself out of it. And I'm knocking all kinds of stuff around right now. Alright, crisis averted. I knocked something into my recycling bin. No big deal, but I wanted to be able to find it, so I figured I better rescue it before the show prep hits the recycling bin. Oh yes, the show prep. Doesn't sound as thick as usual, and it's probably not. I don't keep track of these things. No, I really don't. You don't believe me? Oh well. Oh well, I don't. Alright, there's a lot of places to start, and I'm trying to debate where to start them. Let me see if I can find some audio I think I grabbed the other day. You're just going to have to bear with me for just a moment, folks. No, I don't have it prepped. So we're just going to have to make do. I usually do make do. And I've got a new thing I'm going to play before the end of every show. And you're just going to have to cope, folks, because it's staying. So, alright. Let's start in the Asia-Pacific realm. Yes, it's been a busy weekend. Alright, let's rewind and start that. Give just a little more insight than, it's been busy. For those of you who are regular listeners to my show, you know that Park Geun-hye was impeached. She said, well, I'm staying as president until the Supreme Court tells me I'm out. Well, they decided, you're out. And this happened over the weekend, I believe. I know it happened since we last spoke. Alright. The disgraced South Korean leader Park Geun-hye has broken her silence over the corruption scandal that led to her removal from office, saying she's sorry she could not finish her mandate, but is confident that, quote-unquote, the truth will be revealed. Park, who left the presidential Blue House on Sunday in a motorcade of black cars 2 days after a court dismissed her over the scandal, is facing the possibility of prosecution and jail. She struck a defiant tone upon arriving in her private home in the Gangnam district of Seoul. I feel sorry that I could not finish the mandate given to me as president. The member of parliament Min Kwon-wook, a spokesman for Park, quoted her as saying, it will take time, but I believe the truth will be revealed. She accepted responsibility for the events that culminated in the Constitutional Court on Friday upholding a parliamentary impeachment vote over, you ready? An influence peddling scandal. Alright, why was she impeached? Alright, for those of you who haven't kept up on this and it's been a long time coming, Park is accused of giving her longtime confidant Choi Sun-sil unlawful access to state affairs and allowing her to influence policy, including Seoul's stance on the North Korean nuclear weapons program. Choi is also accused of conspiring to pressure companies, including Samsung, to donate large sums to 2 nonprofit foundations. Choi is accused of using the money for personal gain, which she denies. Park has admitted to behaving naively, but denies coercing companies. A snap presidential election is due to be held by the 9th of May. The liberal politician likely to become the next president, Moon Jae-in, has promised to work for justice and common sense. He says, we still have a long way to go. We have to make this a country of justice, of common sense through regime change. Moon, an advocate of the Sunshine Policy, of engagement with North Korea told a news conference, "We all have to work together for a complete victory." And there were rallies and candlelight celebrations in Seoul to celebrate the ousting of Park Geun-hye. Moon has criticized two former conservative presidents, Park and her predecessor Lee Moon-bak, for derailing the progress made in inter-Korean relations during the previous Liberal administration. He's calling for a two-step approach on North Korea, with talks leading to first economic unification and ultimately political and military unification. Moon stressed the need to embrace and be united with the North Korean people, while adding he could never accept its dictatorial regime or its trampling of rights. He denounced the North's cruel and ruthless behavior after the murder in Malaysia last month of Kim Jong-nam, the estranged half-brother of the North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. But he told a news conference there was no choice but to recognize Kim Jong-un as leader. Moon is a human rights lawyer by trade, called on Park to publicly accept the court ruling, and said she should not try to destroy or remove any documents when she left Blue House. Now, Park was South Korea's first democratically elected leader to be forced from office, and this was after months and months and months of political paralysis, turmoil, over the influence peddling scandal that also landed the head of the Samsung conglomerate in jail. What? You didn't know he was in jail? Well, yeah, the head of the company that makes that Samsung phone in your pocket is in jail. It was a dramatic fall from grace for South Korea's first female president, the daughter of the Cold War military dictator Park Chung-hee. Having lost presidential immunity, she could face criminal charges over bribery, extortion, and abuse of power in connection with allegations of conspiring with her friend Choi Soon-sil, who also denies wrongdoing. Alright, folks, my take on that story. They were peddling influence of some kind. What each of them knew and when they knew it is something I don't know. While I do spend time on it, I don't dig that deep because I fly through the stories and try and find as many facts as I can as quickly as I can. However, I will admit I don't stay as up to date on things as I should for it. Alright. Now, Park's life has not been without tragedy. Park's mother was killed in a botched assassination attempt on her father in 1974. In the years that followed, she assumed the role of First Lady, greeting world leaders alongside her father. And 5 years after her mother's death, Park Chung-hee was also assassinated. That was her father, killed by his own security chief. Having lost both her parents and her home, Park withdrew from public sphere, living what she described as a very normal life. Park said she was persuaded to rejoin politics after seeing the effects of the Asian economic crisis in the late 1990s. According to her aides, her style of governing was more reminiscent of Park Chung-hee, more authoritarian than South Korea is used to in today's 21st century democracy. So, then of course she lost some popularity when there was a ferry disaster and 304 people died, most of them high school students on a field trip, and that was in 2014. She did not address the nation until 7 hours after the tragedy began. Okay? People felt like she wasn't there. And they understand she couldn't just pull out her magic wand and go, poof, everything's right. But they wanted leadership. They wanted that leadership touch, that consoling, that something. So, now, WikiLeaks has gotten in that one. And according to a U.S. diplomatic cable published by WikiLeaks, and you know when it's a dodgy source, I'll tell you where I got it. There's rumors that Choi had complete control over Park's body and soul during her formative years. And that Choi Tae-min, who was a cult leader, and his children accumulated enormous wealth as a result. So then there was a 3-month investigation by special prosecutors. It was recommended that Park be indicted as a bribery suspect once she loses presidential immunity. I do expect those charges to be filed. As the old saying goes, you can indict a ham sandwich. Now, there have been some surprising ones where people weren't indicted, where everybody thought they were going to be, but now, what's the road forward for South Korea? Legally, elections for a new leader must be held in the next 60 days. And Park's Saenuri party hopes to maintain their grip on power despite the scandal. So, who knows? Who knows? That's not the only South Korea news. Navy SEAL Team 6 is joining South Korean forces for military drills for the first time. Yes. Now that's something the Pentagon has denied it, but the Pentagon's denied that the team will reportedly simulate a decapitation attack to remove North Korea's leadership. The drills, of course, have agitated and angered Kim Jong-un, who said the country was ramping up its nuclear program in response. Now, SEAL Team 6, aka the top #1 tier of United States Navy SEALs, is joining South Korean forces for the first time for military drills. Of course, they're most famous for killing Osama bin Laden. And they joined the Army Rangers, Delta Force, and Green Berets in the annual Full Eagle and Key Resolve exercises between the U.S. and South Korea. Now, South Korea ain't the only people doing military exercises. What? You thought Kim Jong-un was going to sit back and just go, yeah, whatever? No. The exercises started March 1st and don't conclude till the end of April. Of course, North Korea's got their standard line. It's a rehearsal for invasion! It's a rehearsal for invasion! It's a rehearsal for invasion! Lather, rinse, and repeat the rehearsal for invasion story. The U.S. troops numbering 3,600 will be added to the drills in addition to the 28,000 U.S. troops permanently stationed in South Korea. The drills do include air, land, and sea and are designed to prepare in case of a conflict with North Korea. Basically, in case the demilitarized zone becomes a war zone again, folks. I don't know how else to explain it. Alright, got a couple more Korea stories. And of course, the North Korea is aggravated and all worked up. Come on, you could have written that one. Now, of course, in comes China going, North Korea might halt their nuclear program if the South and the United States stop their military drills. And they don't mean just call them off this year. They mean forever. And of course, North Korea has gone on to say, UK, you stay out of this. So, and of course, Kim Jong-un has been overseeing the stage drills he always watches. Who knows what is going on, really. And I'm seeing the decapitation stuff, that the Navy SEALs are practicing the North Korean decapitation strike in more than one place. And I hate to say it, I'm going to take it. I'm going to take it. Now, of course, Pentagon spokesman Commander Gary Ross told the media that the U.S. military does not train for decapitation missions of any kind. Yet, that kind of fits what's going on. Alright, folks, we are at the bottom of the hour. Yes, we're there. As always, you can follow me on Twitter at Jessie's POV, or you can drop me an email at the station at jessiespov@klrnradio.com. And I will see you on the other side.
In these uncertain economic times, you've got to do whatever you can to save money. One of our biggest expenses can be our cars, especially when unexpected repair bills hit. Not anymore. If you own a vehicle with less than 130,000 miles, is less than 12 years old, has a warranty about to expire, or even no warranty at all, you could stop paying for car repairs. Roadside assistance, towing, and rental coverage are all included. Don't wait for the next repair. Make one free call right now to see if you qualify. If your vehicle is less than 12 years old, has less than 130,000 miles, even if it's out of warranty, paying for car repairs can become a thing of the past. Call us right now and get your car protected before your next repair bill hits. Get protection and no more repair bills. Call 800-696-1030. Again, 800-696-1030. That's 800-696-1030. 800-696-1030.
All writers are prone to becoming so attached to our characters and stories that we struggle to see why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing to full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, shaping stories into masterpieces that can stand the test of time. Editing services are provided for all genres and all age categories. Services range from the critique of the short story through to line edits on full-length novels. We also offer assistance on generating writers' bios for your websites. We won't abandon you to the masses. We want to celebrate with you in your successes. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services and prices, visit us at blackwolfeditorial.com.
I've owned my company for 14 years now, and I can tell you that payroll is a 4-letter word. I hate doing it. It eats up hours I don't have, and it costs me money I could be saving. But my accountant's too expensive, and I'm not sure who to call, but I know I need help.
We're Paychex, and we take all the hassles out of small business payroll. We save you time and money. It's easy. Call, fax, or give us your payroll information securely online, and we take care of the rest. We calculate the correct taxes, manage payments and direct deposits. We even send out your checks. Payroll doesn't need to be a 4-letter word anymore. We're so sure that we can save you time and money that we'll give you a month's payroll free. just for calling 877-757-2782. Get 1 month's payroll for free. Call Paychex right now. 877-757-2782. That's 877-757-2782.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
All right, thank you for hanging in there with me while I paid them bills. Yes, North versus South Korea, while it's not a hot battlefield yet, it's looking pretty interesting, folks. Between the deployment of the top United States Special Forces to the U.S.-South Korean exercises, and this confirmation, I'll let you take a listen for yourself.
I know that the U.S. Army has directed United States forces Korea to prepare for a permanent stationing of a Gray Eagle unmanned aerial system company at Kunsan Air Base in South Korea.
Yes, Kunsan Air Base in South Korea. Permanent stationing. Now that's a lot different than, we're going to send a group over there as a show of force. That is a whole lot different. All right. Now, here's what the State Department spokesman Toner had continued to say. You can tell he doesn't brief military stuff on a regular basis, but I'm glad he mentioned something.
This is, I think, an ongoing effort to defend the Republic of Korea and U.S. interests in order to maintain regional security, stability, and economic prosperity for the region.
So, we've got the battle between North and South Korea coming to a head. I'm sorry, they don't call in SEAL Team 6 very often. Also, the F-35s will fly in to simulate attacks on North Korea's missile infrastructure. And, of course, the F-22s and nuclear-powered submarines. And no, I'm not telling tales out of school. This is all stuff that's in the media. So, now, would the U.S. do a first strike? I don't know. But, what would happen? Well, I got a few thoughts on this. No matter how smooth it goes, there's going to be death. Alright, let's just accept that. And a full-scale attack could lead to mission creep that would pull the U.S. into long-term conflict in East Asia. So, let's think about the quick strike. Stealth aircraft, F-22s, B-2s. Submarines. Alright? Alright. So, the long-range stealth bomber, the B-2, could drop massive 30,000 bombs on deep underground bunkers in North Korea. And it can fly from Guam or from the United States. There's initial targets, I'm sure, such as the nuclear reactors, the missile productions, and launching pads for ICBMs. And yeah, they do have 2 of them at least that I can think of off the top of my head. Cruise missiles would fly in. F-22s would flatten whatever rudimentary air defense North Korea had. And then, of course, the F-35s and the F-22s would hunt down those mobile missile launchers. Now, God forbid North Korea gets off a missile. The U.S. and South Korea have layered missile defense that would attempt to shoot it down. Alright. They do have an extremely massive conventional artillery force. However, most North Korean artillery can't reach Seoul, which is South Korea's capital. And Seoul has underground bunkers and infrastructure to quickly protect its citizens, although there would be some damage. You'd have more damage near the DMZ. The closer you go, the less damage you're likely to see. So, now, first, I'm thinking that the DMZ, the demilitarized zone between the 2 Koreas, is littered with landmines. You don't walk anywhere you're not told it's safe to walk, because you could step on a mine. They got a 1-hole par 3 golf course up there. It's called the most dangerous golf course in the world. And there's a little note saying, don't chase the ball into the rough, take the penalty. So, now the North Korea does have 1 submarine that can launch ballistic missiles. And it could be a little bit of a pain in the neck, however, we got good sub-hunting technology. So that's a quick overview of what I think would happen. Alright, I just looked at the clock. We gotta finish up because we got a lot going on. Now, let's talk North Korea for just a second. North Korea tried to blame Malaysia for the death of Kim Jong-nam. Really, folks? And of course, North Korea is still saying Kim Jong-nam, who they're saying is Kim Chok, which is the name on his passport, died of a heart attack, although they haven't seen the body. Come on, people. And North Korea boycotted a UN review of its human rights record on Monday, shunning calls for the Pyongyang leadership to be held in account for crimes against humanity. Of course, all this has taken North Korean leader Kim Jong-un from punchline to world menace, which means he is becoming a real problem. And whether he's pulling the strings or someone else is, it's still a problem. Alright, East versus West. There is a lot going on in the Middle East. Now, I'm going to cover this story very briefly. I'm going to have to get back to it tomorrow when I've got a little more time to research it. And this one is one of those stories that cuts the border between my show and politics. Yeah, it's one of those. Alright? Alright. President Trump's Middle East envoy and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu met on Monday. A statement from the Israeli leader's office said that Jason Greenblatt reaffirmed President Trump's commitment to Israel's security and to the effort to help Israelis and Palestinians achieve a lasting peace through direct negotiations. Peace talks between Israel and Palestinians have been frozen since 2014, and the Palestinians have been concerned at the more favorable approach shown by Washington towards Netanyahu since Trump came to office. The statement added during a conversation lasting more than 5 hours, Netanyahu and Greenblatt discussed the Israel settlement building with hopes of reaching a formula that will aim to promote peace and security. One of the most heated issues between the Palestinians and Israel is Israel's building of settlements in the occupied West Bank and East Jerusalem, which, of course, is the territory the Palestinians want for their future state. Of course, they want the Gaza Strip, too. On Friday, President Trump did speak with Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas and invited him to the White House. That was the first known phone call between the two leaders since Trump took office. Greenblatt and Abbas are scheduled to meet, I believe that was on Wednesday. Tuesday in the West Bank. The Israeli statement added that Greenblatt stressed how important enabling the growth of the Palestinian economy, improving the quality of life for Palestinians are. Now, the reason you want to grow their economy, and I'm going to go into this real brief and then we got to roll on, folks. If there's nothing to do but become a terrorist, that's the only way to make a living, you're going to do it. If you can have a job doing something that doesn't put your life in danger, you're more likely to do that. Alright, we've got a little bit more Middle East news here, folks. This isn't Middle East, but it fits with what I'm doing. Egypt's ousted president, Hosni Mubarak, was ordered to be freed from detention on Monday, according to the prosecutor who signed his release order. This ends 6 years of legal proceedings against the long-ruling autocrat. The prosecutor, Ibrahim Salah, told the media that he ordered Mubarak's release after he accepted a petition by the former president's lawyer for his freedom on the basis of time served. Mubarak, 88, was acquitted by the country's top appeals court on March 2nd of the charges that he ordered the killing of protesters during the 2011 uprising that ended his 29-year rule. That verdict, according to Salah, cleared the way for the lawyer to request that his client be released, since he has already served a 3-year sentence for embezzling state funds while in detention on connection to the protest case. A criminal court ruled in May 2015 to imprison Mubarak for 3 years following his conviction of embezzlement. Mubarak was first detained in April 2011, but spent nearly 6 years since in hospitals. Sorry about that. He is currently staying at a Nile-side military hospital in the leafy suburb of Mahdi, just south of Cairo. It's not clear when he will actually go home to Heliopolis. Alright, more interesting Middle East news. Oh yes, Mosul and East versus West. Turkey's attempt to close the gap with the West seems to widen it. A group of American reporters got an intriguing glimpse into the political mindset in Turkey last week when the mayor of Ankara lured a group of them with promises of an interview with Erdogan. When it became clear that was never part of the plan, interviews were arranged at the last minute with several senior officials who tried hard to present Turkey's version of events to the world and seemed flummoxed about why that message hasn't been making an impact, and why misleading a group of reporters may not be the best way to do things. There was near disbelief that Western governments and the news media would interpret Mr. Erdogan's constitutional referendum in April seeking greater powers as anything other than a necessary response to a traumatic assault on democracy from a failed coup. And if you recall, a faction of Turkish military used tanks, fighter jets, and helicopters to attack government buildings in Ankara, the capital, killing scores of people and injuring thousands. Guys, don't deceive a reporter, really, especially if you're a public figure. Alright, on to Mosul. The remaining Western Mosul neighborhoods held by Daesh are now completely surrounded. Daesh has lost more than 60% of the territory the militants once held in Iraq. Daesh is trapped. Brett McGurk, the special presidential envoy for Global Coalition Against Daesh, told reporters in Baghdad. Let me see if I've got an audio clip. It's going to take me a second to find it. Give me just a minute. I think it is the perfect audio clip. Might help if I remember what folder it's in. Alright. Here it is. I truly do believe this is the fate for Daesh.
The enemy is completely surrounded in West Mosul, and those who do not surrender to the Iraqi security forces will be killed there.
Now, I don't have the date when that was recorded, but it is an old clip from a DVID's briefing. Now, as you know, we have troops overseas advising and assisting Iraqi forces. Here's a clip from the Public Affairs Officer for the 82nd, 82nd Airborne Division, that is, in part of it, is supporting the Iraqi Federal Police.
So as you know, East Mosul was successfully liberated just last month. The Federal Police had a big part in that, and they're doing it again on the west side.
And here's one more little audio clip.
Well, the Federal Police have proven themselves once again to be an extremely competent and professional fighting force. They've done a great job. They've done that in coordination with their other Iraqi security forces partners, with the Air Force as well as the Iraqi Army. They've progressed quite well so far.
All right, so the spokesperson thinks that the Iraqi Federal Police are doing fairly well. I like the sound of that. Now, I've got one more story. I believe I've got one more on Mosul. Let me shuffle through this show prep and see if I can find it. You know it's never in order. Come on, folks. Once in a rare moon, you'll catch me more organized. But you know, I think half of you tune in just to hear me stumble. Now, of course, the old city in Mosul is where the stiffest resistance is because it's got narrow streets, you can't get in proper military vehicles, and many things like that. Iraqi forces battling Daesh faced tough resistance from snipers and mortar rounds on Monday as they tried to advance on Mosul's old city and a bridge across the Tigris River in their campaign to retake it. Progress was slowed by heavy rains, but units were only 100 meters from the iron bridge that connects the old city with the eastern side of Mosul. Since starting the campaign in October to push Daesh out of its last stronghold in the country, Iraqi forces with U.S. coalition support have recaptured east of Mosul and about 40% of the city's west. Federal police and rapid response brigades are an elite force, but advances in the area stalled on Monday due to bad weather, rainy weather operations. They're facing stiff resistance from Daesh fighters with sniper shots and mortars. Troops have exchanged fire with snipers while trying to drag blinds made of blankets and curtains across streets to obscure their movement. Heavy explosions later hit a hotel where Daesh gunmen had been returning fire. Now, you've heard the same number for a long time, 600,000 civilians. You would sit there and say to yourself, it's been a while, why aren't there a few less? Because Daesh doesn't want to give up a potential hostage. So, residents have fled from the Wadi Hajar district carrying bags and belongings through muddy streets to areas being controlled by the army before being transported out by truck. And the residents are saying it was a nightmare. It's finally over, and there's no water, no food, nothing. Capturing the Iron Bridge is a strategic advantage. It would mean Iraqi forces controlled 3 of the 5 bridges spanning the Tigris River between eastern and western Mosul, all of which has been damaged by Daesh and U.S.-led airstrikes. But as you heard on this show earlier, the Iraqi army can do some bridging operations. Alright, I got time for just a couple more stories, then I gotta make my way out of here. Because it's Monday night. The Stafford Voice. An Al-Qaeda-linked group claimed responsibility Sunday for twin blasts near holy shrines frequented by Shiites in the Syrian capital Damascus that killed at least 40 people as a suspected airstrike by the U.S.-led coalition killed at least 17 in northern Syria. The attack supposedly targeted pro-Iranian and pro-government militiamen as identified the suicide attackers as the government said that the attack was carried out by 2 suicide attackers, claiming that they targeted pro-Iranian and pro-government militiamen. The Syrian government maintains that the attacks killed 40 people. However, this British-based Syrian Observatory for Human Rights increased its death toll on Sunday to 74. The attacks in Damascus show that the Syrian militant group can still strike deep inside the capital where security is tight. The claims of responsibility come at a time when Al-Qaeda's branch in Syria, known as Fatah al-Sham, is trying to market itself as the only effective force against Assad and the main defender of the country. Alright, folks. I got one more thing I'm going to do before I get on out of here. And I'm going to play this at the end of every show for a while. So you just listen and listen close.
For anyone going through any type of personal battle, whether it's cancer, PTSD, depression, a personal challenge that they want to do. They want to go climb Mount Everest. You need to stay in the fight. And when I say that, I mean mentally. If you're not mentally in the fight, if you don't stay in the fight, you can't win.
Alright, folks. And as always, you can find me on Twitter at Jessie's POV, and you can always shoot me an email at the station at Jessie's POV at KLRNRadio.com. On that note, folks, I'm out of here!